issue where the furore raised by the Naira redesign policy of the Central Bank of Nigeria is far from over. Now, in the latest twist to the saga, the Nigerian Labour Congress has declared a nationwide strike over the scarcity of cash in the country. The national president of the union, Joe Ajero, who gave the directive, said the industrial action became the last resort for the NLC following expiration of the ultimatum issued to the federal government and the CBN. Ajero explained that the government has failed to show any commitment to addressing the situation. He also directed the affiliate unions of the NLC should be on standby for picketing exercises across all branches of the CBN nationwide. BK, what do you make of this decision of the NLC to picket the CBN branches over the current currency crunch? Is it a little too late? What are your thoughts?
Oh, no, they should have done it before now. They should have done it. In fact, I was wondering what has come over civil society organizations in our country. Some of them have been collecting dirty money from the same people who are pauperizing our people, who are tormenting our people with policies that they know in their hearts are not meant to achieve anything, because no one can tell me the economic value of this useless policy. Thoroughly useless policy. No value whatsoever. A policy that they did not even... We've seen a third world country like India, a third world country but much more advanced than Nigeria in so many ways. You know? Bigger than Nigeria by far. They tried this thing in 2016 and it failed in India. It was the poor people that suffered. I've been challenging them to go and read what happened when India tried this kind of thing in 2016. In any case, we are a nation of unreading people. That's why you see journalists who do not know their left from their right standing by a man who has clearly failed this nation. It means that you are conscienceless. If you stand by a man whom you can see that by his actions and inactions, people are dying, people are rioting, people are becoming poor, people are falling sick and not getting Medicare because they've not got the cash to make it happen. Look at what is going on now. You can't even transfer money. The CBN governor had to apologize to Nigerians over the inability to transfer money electronically. You are trying to push us to do a cashless policy when you don't even have the infrastructure to back it. Did you do a stress test? The stress test will have shown to you that, oh, if about 1 million people try to transfer money at the same time, it may not work. You didn't do it. That is testament to your incompetence. And even if you gather all the journalists in the world, people who ought to be butchers, who get crashed into our profession, who do not know their left from their right, if you gather all of them, it still won't vitiate the truth. The truth never loses. The truth is the truth. Now, what I'm actually ashamed of is the fact that civil society, labor should have taken concrete steps, even at that time when the president was vacillating. Because whatever we say about Emefiele, the president must take some of the blame. Because, you see, when we talk like this here, people say, Jide has come again. I told people, right on this program, I said, don't be too sure that after the elections, this problem will disappear. Because some people are deceiving themselves, say, oh, it's because of the election, let's just do the elections. After the elections, the money will be available. Oh, have we not finished election now? A boy here in this office, for 3,000 Naira, he paid 900 Naira. Have we not finished elections? Are they blind? Can't they see that we finished election? How Nigerians, embrace things that make no sense is what I just don't get it. Because the journalists that they listen to, the journalists that they venerate, they are even better than those journalists. There are some Nigerians who do not have any training in journalism. They are better equipped than the boards of passage who get crashed into our profession and are standing by certified failures.
Dare.
So this is the thing.
Yeah.
Let us now, the CBN, what it should have done, just before you go to Dare, because I'm pained by this.
I get you.
Now the CBN is planning to tell bank chiefs, come and take Naira notes that you deposited with us. Come and take it back. They have record of Naira notes that banks deposited. They said, now come and take so that you can flood the country. Meanwhile, what they told us before was that they had burnt. They had burnt.
Currency.
And I said they didn't burn anything. I'm not the sort of person who believes just anything you tell me. I've outgrown that. I said they didn't burn any. It's a lie. Some of those monies are even still in the vaults of some banks. Now, they are telling them, come and take what you deposited with us. When you take it, hopefully, we'll be able to flood. I said it. I said, even the new notes, they don't have enough new notes. People didn't believe us. But the facts are there now. Those who deceive themselves that, oh, once the elections are over, oh, this thing is targeted at some people, but immediately the elections are over, the money will be there. They fail to realize that where we are talking about manifest incompetence that is as clear as daylight, the issue of whether money is available or not, you will see. Even if it's available, how do they get it across to people? Now, it has taken the NLC to wake up from his slumber before they realize that they have to stop the pain that Nigerians are going through. It's a mortal shame.
Mortal shame indeed. Dare, what impact do you think this picketing would have on the economy, seeing the current situation Nigerians are facing? Do you think it will make any difference?
Yeah. I would say it's better late than never, because I'm not impressed by whatever action the NLC wants to take, except for the fact that we must excuse the new man, Joe Ajaero. He just took office. I think the immediate past president of the Nigerian Labour Congress, Ayuba Waba, will be remembered for what he didn't do when it mattered most. A lot of us here on this table called on him, especially when judgments came and the president would not budge, Emefiele would not listen. That is why we have the civil society. That is why we have the Nigerian Labour
Congress are taking over when those judgments.
But Ayuba would not be bothered.
No, now see, Ajaero are taking over long before even that judgment came.
The election was held long before. I think I read through this thing. I don't know what their transition is like. And in one of his own explanations is the fact that now he's in charge. One would need to study what their own transition system looks like, because for some time, Ayuba Waba was still in charge. And whoever it was that was in charge, Nigerian NLC is a body. It owes Nigerian that action at that time. You see, whatever they decide to do now will really not matter much to me, because you are not calling for a strike. A strike at a time like this will only worsen the situation. Because, well, if you understand how people have lost their means of income, how businesses have collapsed. I was at a bank on Tuesday, and I met two elderly men with evidences that they are retired senior Nigerians. Elder statesmen who served the country or their offices, retired, and they rely on their monthly stipend. And now, in the last 2 or 3 months, the money is there. They cannot get cash. They can't do transfer. And these two, after struggling, the bank was paying 5,000 naira for its customers, but because they are old, they couldn't get. They stayed by the bank and they were begging. Please, just if it is 500. One of them said, if I tell you to give me money I want to use to transport home, I'm lying. I will need extra small to at least to eat tonight and all that. These are people who have money in their bank accounts. They became beggars. Those are examples we saw. Many others like that. There are people whose means of livelihood requires that they have steady cash at hand. that has been destroyed. There are people who rely on the ability of Nigerians to spend Naira to survive. The entertainment industry is practically closing down. People cannot find cash to do things they do on daily basis. And yet, we think we have a policy that is meant to solve, because if you remember the way Emefiele went about introducing this Naira swap policy to us, I was one of those who fell in love with him. I must tell you.
I remember.
He did, like BKO said, he had a gang. I won't call them a band now, but a gang of journalists who helped him do a wonderful job of packaging what has turned out to be a lie. What he did to us is what I have called it economic genocide. He practically killed us economically. It is not just a national economy. The individual economy of the average Nigerian suffered a fatal blow in the hand of a man who told us he knows what he's doing, but we found out he ought not to be the man in charge at a time like this. But if we continue to shout his name from now till 20 years, what would happen to those who should call him to others and didn't?
So what do you think the government should do in this case? Even though the NLC has given an ultimatum, Babajide, what do you think government should do to ensure that this matter is really addressed if it's talking about, addressing the current cash crunch?
You know, the president already threw him under the bus. And that is a lesson for other public officers. Follow the law. Don't be naive. The Supreme Court is the biggest court in our land. We advise them to listen to the Supreme Court. Now, when it became so clear and people were attacking the president, he came out to say, no, they don't have to take order from me to obey the Supreme Court.
Yeah, that's why they were waiting for him.
Because the argument was, the matter was actually against the president. It was that the judgment was directed at the president. But you are an agent of the president. The president does not run the CBN by himself. You take orders from him. He gave the directive to you. He cannot come down and do it himself. So you should have taken steps. And they didn't take those steps. And for those who try to politicize the thing, deceiving themselves that this whole thing will stop somebody from winning an election. Are you God? What God has ordained, no man can change. I thought Two-Face sang about that a long time ago. That who God has blessed, no man can curse. Why are we so naive as a people? That, if we inflict pain on people, innocent people, it will stop somebody from winning? Abba. See where we are. Now the mess is gargantuan because elections have ended now. Yet people still don't have cash.
So what is the long term? What is the solution? Even though the solution
is let him release the money that they confiscated from Nigerians.
And then they should
let them release it back to the banks.
The new notes he promised. He has the capacity to
They do not have enough. No.
Then we shouldn't allow him get away with that.
They didn't print enough. The people who are knowledgeable have said it that even the security printing and minting company is limited at this time. And don't also forget, they are the same people they are running to print ballot materials and all that.
So was now
they did not print enough. We've been saying this from day one. You confiscated trillions of naira from our people, billion. Yet you could not print more than 400 billion. So how do the people survive? You've taken their money off them. You apply pressure on them. They rush to the banks to deposit money. And now you are now telling them back. They are not telling them that you can't take more than 10,000. A boy in our office here, across the counter, he was paid 1,000 naira. Have we ever degenerated to that level in our country?
Lined up for 2 hours to collect 1,000 naira.
Some have said
and that's why now let him release the money that Nigerians deposited, and that is the thing. That is his best bet. Call the bank MDs, the fat cats in the Nigerian banks. Call them Tell them, gentlemen,
Take your money.
each of your banks, what you sent to us,
Come and take
what you deposited with us, come and take. Because you don't have enough new notes. I challenge the CBN to show to us that indeed they have enough new notes. I know a bank that for the past 4 weeks they've not given them a bank branch. They've not given them 1 naira of the new notes.
I don't think there is need for a challenge. It's obvious. So if he has a new note, we should see it on the counter.
I say that because I'm sure of my facts.
Yeah, but
the people,
you can't be sure
because the people who are standing by them, you know.
Do you still have people standing by them?
Oh, have you seen some? There are some journalists who will not open their mouths to condemn this.
Yeah,
are you going to say that you don't know?
Yeah, I agree with you.
Have you seen some? Even you know,
they won't say a word.
You know, these people are selective even about what they criticize. Some of us have been criticized. Oh, you did not talk about violence in Lagos and other places. 4 times I've talked about it. 4 times. 3 times on Journalist Hangout, 1 time on Journalist on Your View. We are not hypocrites like the rest of them. If something is wrong, we talk about it. The heaven will not fall on our heads. But there are journalists who are selective. They can watch the rest of us suffer. Even they too, they are suffering. They are DMing people asking for money. But they continue to pretend like this thing is there's no big deal about it. For political gains.
Wait for a solution to this. On
the solution is what you asked me. I've already said it.
You said it already.
Release
Enough
to
cash.
the fat cats in the banks what you
took from
collected. Tell them to release. I mean, you tell your people in CBN to release the monies that they took from the banks as depositors' funds. Depositors who are seeking swapping of their currencies, what you gave them. Since you don't have enough of the new notes, return to those banks and let those banks freely give money to people. I never knew a day would come when I will have money in the bank and they will tell me that I can't take more than 10,000. Even the Supreme Court said that is against the fundamental rights of Nigerians.
Well, we can discuss this until when we like, but we cannot go further than this.
If we like, tomorrow we'll come back. Thank God we own the airtime. We can come back tomorrow to still talk about until they make up their minds to stop Nigerians from suffering. We will not keep quiet. Let it be clear to them. Some of us have made up our minds that once it is the truth, we side with the poor people. I may not side with the big people. I don't give a damn who they are. But with the poor people, I side with them.
Let's quickly go on a very quick break.